Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Live from the Lou. I'm your host, Charlie Worsham. Got me a little garden, been digging in the dirt. Ain't easy on my back, it's hard, but honest work. It takes a lot of patience just to make these babies grow. There ain't no way to reap what I don't sow. And there's things that I can't change, I can't tell it when the rain. I'm just tending my own corner of this world. And I could be pushing up daisies, I'm awful glad to be out here in the sun, pulling weeds. Take it, Charlie. Oh yeah. I've been trying to kick the habit, looking over my neighbor's fence, trying to pick the greener grass. That don't make a lick of sense. That toxic way of thinking don't give me room to breathe. So I'm up here in my head, pulling weeds. And there's things that I can't change, I can't tell it when the rain. I'm just tending my own corner of this world. And I could be pushing up daisies, I'm awful glad to be out here in the sun, pulling weeds, playing mandolin. There's things that I can't change, I can't tell it when the rain. I'm just tending my own corner of this world. And I could be pushing up daisies, I'm awful glad to be out here in the sun, pulling weeds. It's all in God's hands once I plant the seed. But I'm out here in the sun, pulling weeds. Here we go. Well, hey everybody, welcome back to Live from the Lou. We're back in Nashville. I hope you enjoyed last week's very special episode at my parents' place in Mississippi. It was real good to see them and catch up with them, but I'm also glad to be back in Music City. Well, we have an amazing show in store for you tonight. Our special guest happens to be my co-writer on the song you just heard, Pullin' Weeds. Her name's Hailey Whitters, and we're going to get to our conversation with her in just a couple minutes. But first, it's time for the Pick of the Week. Pick of the Week. The pick of the week this week is the word compassion. Compassion gets its origin in the Latin compati or compassio, and it means to suffer with. When we feel compassion, we recognize another person's struggle, and even if it's something that we don't personally have firsthand experience of, we can try to better understand it, we can try to relate to it, and feel the emotions that that person is feeling. Compassion opens the door to positive change. And I think right now in our country, in the wake of the murders of Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd, we have an opportunity to open that door, to walk through it, and to make positive change. Because the truth is, our system is broken. Not everyone gets the same equality or justice, or gets to enjoy the same privileges. And I have been thinking a lot about what I need to do to better understand these problems. I have so much to learn. We all do. And I am committing to watching documentaries and reading books and having uncomfortable conversations so that I may be better able to feel the compassion that I need to feel, to know the struggles of my black brothers and sisters in this country. And I urge you to do the same, because what we need to accomplish, we aren't going to accomplish with compassion alone, but compassion is a necessary ingredient. And I don't know about you, but I'm all about looking at those words that kick off our Constitution, we the people, in order to form a more perfect union. We can form a more perfect union, and we should. It's what will be best for future generations and best for all of us. So I humbly urge you to join with me and to think about compassion this week, knowing that it is not the only thing that we need, but it is a very necessary part of the process that we need to go through in this country. You know, there's a great quote about compassion by the Dalai Lama. It goes, "If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion." Well, speaking of llamas, I have a very first in-person interview to share with you tonight on Live from the Lou. That's right, folks, I got in my car and drove across East Nashville and met up with our special guest, Hailey Whitters, in her backyard. We sat in lawn chairs and drank some home brews while the chickens roamed free outside of the chicken coop. I love Hailey Whitters so much. I love her songwriting. She's a great songwriting partner, and she has a songwriting voice all her own that you can hear on her debut record, The Dream. It is superb, y'all. The production, the singing, all of it. She reminds me so much of Patti Loveless when she sings, and I was excited to catch up with her. And since we interviewed, she's made a very special announcement. She has launched her own record label, Pegasus Records. Without further ado, here's Hailey Whitters. Thanks for having me hang in your backyard.
Thanks for coming over.
Yeah, with the garden and the chickens and the home brew.
Yeah.
This is a country dream right here.
Yeah, man.
Man.
Living that country dream, isn't that your song?
Sweet Little Country Dreams.
Sweet Little Country Dream.
Yeah. So speaking of dreams, your record's called The Dream.
Yeah.
So what is the dream and are you living it?
This is the dream to me. I mean, at the most simple level, this is where I hang, this is where I get my inspiration for songs and stuff, but man, I just feel lucky to be here and lucky to get to create music and, you know, to make a living playing shows and making records. That's the dream at the most basic level for me, I feel like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I love your record. I think I've made that clear, as a lot of people do, anyone who's heard it. And when I hear songs off your record like Dream Girl and 10-Year Town, Janice at the Hotel Bar, Heartland, I see a picture in my mind's eye of what I imagine Shoeyville, Iowa is like. And I also picture someone who left that place for a place like this, Nashville. So how does where you're from factor into your record and the songs that you write? And how does everybody at home feel about this adventure you're on?
I mean, where I'm from is such a huge part of who I am. As you can kind of see by my backyard, we got the Iowa flag and American Gothic and our barn over here. I just am so deeply woven through the Heartland and my upraising, and I come from a giant family. There's a joke in my family that anytime we'd bring a boy home, they'd check the family tree to see if we were related. But it's just such a huge part of where I'm from, small town, rural America. I grew up in the middle of a cornfield, and I just, I moved here when I was 17, and I realized the longer I stayed here how much I found myself going back to where I'm from, physically, but also I feel like creatively in my songwriting, and I feel like it just keeps me grounded to be able to go back there and know the people that have known you your whole life and see their perspective and their views. I'm just really inspired by that, and it's all over in my songs, just kind of that, wholesome Midwest, Heartland mentality, hardworking, and I find that everywhere in my songs, and it's what kind of inspires me to write is to tell that perspective and that story.
This is really delicious beer.
Isn't this
by
good?
The way.
This is Gears Beers.
Gears Beers. I'm a fan.
Yeah,
oh,
man. I don't know. I think this one's called, this might be his Busty Blonde. I think this one might have been inspired by Dolly Parton.
How about that?
Yeah.
You can, there's so many jokes in there, but I'm going to leave that alone. Dolly Parton is a national treasure.
Yeah, man. Cheers.
To her. So you made this record. Your producer is your longtime partner and boyfriend, Jake Gear.
Yeah.
Tell me about making a record with your significant other.
There was, surprisingly, only one time that I threw his shit out of the car and said, "Get out of here, you're fired." The one time, but other than that, it has been the best decision I think I made creatively with making this record. I think there's just a trust level there, an honesty thing. I feel like we don't have to dance around each other's feelings. We can kind of just be really blunt and I like this, I don't like that. Well, you're wrong, here's why. You're right, I agree. Just very like open and honest. And he knows my career, my music probably better than anyone else. He jumps in the van with me with my band. He sees my shows. He sees me play for audiences of 5 and audiences of 500. So he just has been along through the whole process of me growing as an artist and as a songwriter. And he hears my songs, straight out of the writer room. And so he's kind of like my just creative collaborator, anything from editing a song, being the editor on a song, to watching it come to life in the studio. And this is it. We sit right here, we listen to music, and we just talk about ideas.
This is a timely question, I feel like always is, but especially right now. Our dear friend Leslie Fram is helping to change this, hopefully. But any career in music can be very hard. It's a pretty brutal business. There's a lot of rejection built into the day in, day out grind. And for women, that's especially true, doubly true. Have you experienced setbacks that you feel like you may not have had to deal with had you been a man in the business?
Yeah. It's hard. Like, I don't know necessarily if it set me back. I've definitely had some males in the industry, some gatekeepers, say some pretty lame shit to me. I had one tell me women are more expensive than males, which is so dumb. I'm sure behind the scenes there may be some things that have maybe, kept me from doing things, but, to my knowledge, there's only been those kind of things that have been said to my face. But, it is a reality, and I hope that it's changing. I'm starting to see a lot more females in the top 20 on radio, and Casey Musgraves is just proof. She made a Grammy-winning record, all genre, and she's kind of transcended beyond the genre in a lot of ways. So there's definitely women doing it, and I think women are making some of the coolest music to me right now,
I would argue this isn't the only era. When you talk about the most consequential country careers, Loretta, Dolly, there's no shortage of the women are as much or more the architects of our format.
Totally. Yeah, I agree. All the shit they say about people don't want to hear women, I just don't believe it, I think it's a lame excuse, but, I just try and keep my head down and keep grinding and making music that I love, and I feel like, let the cream rise to the top, just focus on creating great things, and I don't think something as silly as your gender will hold you back,
Amen.
Yeah.
So what's next for Hailey Whitters?
More music.
Yeah, well, I kind of knew that because we got to be in the studio together. It was my first time playing music with other humans since quarantine kicked in, and it was such a great day.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the world to hear those songs.
I know, I'm excited.
So more music, that's great, and I'm sure more touring when that opens back up.
Yep, more touring when it opens up, and just more music.
Excellent.
Keeping it going.
We all have to get the dream if you don't already have it. It's a stellar record. I dare say it's the best debut record I've heard in years.
Damn, dude.
Easily.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It's just all you, and it doesn't sound like anybody else.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that there aren't touches of all the great country music that I love. From like Patty Loveless and Trisha Yearwood to even Patty Griffin.
Yeah.
Some of the writing.
I love that.
Honesty there. Proud to know you, Hailey.
Proud to know you, buddy.
Shoot, yeah.
Cheers.
Here's to the busty blonde.
Yeah.
Power of the busty blonde. Ladies and gentlemen, here to perform the song Heartland off her debut record, The Dream. This is Hailey Whitters.
1, 2, 3. I should be married by now. 2 kids and paid for a house. I can hear 'em now, asking what I'm doing now. I should have a little more to show than a suitcase smells like smoke. I should have an alibi on where time goes when it flies. 'Cause I've been on the rise, I've been on the road, on the other side of every door closed. I've been on a limb, trying to catch a break. Some's gotta give, sometimes you gotta take it down a fast lane, right back to your last name, to remind you where you came from. You're still shining in the same sun. It don't matter how high you've been floating in your blue sky. Nothing gets you like goodbye can when life is out of your hands. Yeah, you gotta let your heart land. Go down, feel the wind in my head now. Find a station through the static. The old me while I'm at it. 'Cause I've been on the rise, I've been on the road, pulling double shifts, needle on low, waking up alone in a bed I made. That would be a real good time to take it down fast lane, right back to your last name, to remind you where you came from. You're still shining in the same sun. It don't matter how high you've been floating in your blue sky. Nothing gets you like goodbye can when life is out of your hands. You gotta let your heart land. Oh, you gotta let your heart land. Gotta let your heart land in the middle of nowhere. Oh, you gotta let your heart land. Sometimes you just gotta go there. Just go there, and it don't matter how high you've been floating in your blue sky. Nothing gets you like goodbye can when life is out of your hands. You gotta let your heart land. Oh, you gotta let your heart land. Come on, Charlie. Yeah. Gotta let your heart land.
There we go.
Love it.
Amen. Hailey Whitters, y'all. Sometimes you just gotta let your heart land. And you know, a couple weeks ago when I drove down to Mississippi to visit my mom and dad, that's exactly what I was doing. In addition to shooting a special episode for Live from the Lou, I found some time to dig through old home movies, and I found a clip I want to share with y'all tonight. You see, my musical journey began with piano lessons, and my first music teacher was a lady named Cindy Dugan. Thanks to Miss Dugan, I have a foundation for music that I still stand on today. Now, the clip you're going to see is from one of my first public performances, from one of the many recitals that she put on every year. And I'm wearing the suit coat and the tie and the khakis and all of it. So buckle up, y'all, because live from the 1990s in the Grenada, Mississippi Public Library, here's another edition of Young Charles.
Young Charles gonna do his thing. Young Charles gonna do his thing. Oh. Young Charles gonna do his thing. Young Charles gonna do his thing. Young Charles. Young Charles gonna do his thing. Young Charles gonna do his thing. Oh. Young Charles gonna do his thing. Young Charles gonna do his thing. Young Charles.
How about that, y'all? Young Charles tickling those ivories. I owe a debt of gratitude to Miss Cindy Dugan for giving me my start in music. Thank you so much, Cindy. Well, if y'all can stand one more piece of Mississippi footage, I want to share a song with y'all. It's a song I was fortunate to write with my hero, Vince Gill, and you can hear him singing on his album, Okie, which is fantastic. But I want to share this song with y'all because when the news was breaking about George Floyd, that was about the time I was making my trip home to visit my parents. And you see, being from Mississippi, we have a complicated history. There's a lot about where I grew up that I'm really proud of. But my home state is also home to the murders of the 3 civil rights workers in the summer of 1964, the murders of Medgar Evers, the lynching of Emmett Till, a man named Vernon Dahmer. And where we are today is connected to that history. And that history might feel like it was a long time ago, but it really wasn't. And so I just want to share this song with y'all and encourage everyone to think about the thoughtful question that it poses. And another thoughtful question that comes to mind is, what does this make possible, this time that we're in? You know, what does it make possible? Here's a song called Black and White. Were we better off in black and white? Catch a picture show on a Friday night, a good night kiss in the front porch light. Were we better off in black and white? Were we better off in black and white? When they told the truth on the news at night, too far left, too far right. Were we better off in black and white? We still help our friends in need, but we struggle with too much greed. We got lessons left to learn, and a past that just won't burn. Were we better off in black and white? Some days yes, some days not quite. There'll be times we have to fight. Were we better off in black and white? but we struggle with too much greed. We got lessons left to learn, and a passage just won't burn. Being kind means more than being right. Were we better off in black and white? I pray our best is still in sight. Were we better off in black and white? Well, that's all we got for y'all tonight. I want to thank everyone so much for tuning in to Live from the Lou. I want to thank you for letting me bend your ear about things that are weighing on my heart. And I want to let you know that we're going to move to a one show a month schedule for Live from the Lou. And I'm so excited to bring some more special guests your way in just a few weeks. And thank you so much, everybody. I hope you have a good evening. Good night.